have two lines, two phrases, two ideas today that are going to help you in three areas of your playing. Your bass playing, your soloing, and your fundamental understanding of harmony. I want to approach them more from a groove standpoint and help you get through 2, 5, 1, 6. Now, before we break down these two phrases, I want to answer a question that is really common when it comes to the 2, 5, 1, 6, really focusing in on that 6. A lot of people ask, hey, when you're in the key of C, for instance, why when you get to that 6 chord, why is it not minor? If you walk up the scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, that 6th degree of the scale, that mode is a minor mode. So very quickly, what we do in a 2, 5, 1, 6, that 6 actually is a dominant 7 chord. It's a secondary dominant. It's a way of getting back to the starting point of the phrase, which in this case is D minor, using a dominant sound, having a perfect cadence, having a 5 to 1, even though that 5 to 1 is not the 5 and the 1 of the key you're in. So we have our 2, our D minor, going to our 5, G7 going to 1, C major 7. Now, the actual 6 would be A minor here if we were talking modally, but what we do is we make that dominant sound and we get back to our D minor, and so the cycle continues. So when you hear that 2, 5, 1, 6, that 6 is most likely going to be a secondary dominant, the A7, the 6th dominant 7 of the key that you're in, to get you back to the top of the phrase. Both of the phrases you hear in this video are from my book, Jazz Vocabulary for Electric Bass 251. Signed copies from me are available below the video. Also, physical copies at Amazon, digital copies at the website, janekgwizdala.com/store. And I'm doing something unique for this video. The play-alongs with this book have been more in the swing kind of feel, the straight ahead jazz kind of feel. And as you've heard with the examples so far, this is more groove based. I want to get you in the habit of working on the fundamentals of the instrument, the grooving element of being a bass player, at the same time as working on these melodic ideas to better understand the extensions and all of these beautiful notes that are available to us within the harmony. So let's break down the first phrase. I want you to recognize the fact that the 2 and the 5, what we're using melodically over them, are very, very similar in terms of their shape. That's over our D minor, and that's over our G7, basically drawing from Dorian and then altered. But essentially what they are is two very recognizable minor shapes. If you wanted to break it down even further and do sort of the prep work to get to this lick, the sort of the drilling I would do before I got to working on this lick would just be to walk up and down the first 5 notes of a minor scale. Probably do that in all 12 keys, maybe starting chromatically like this. And then maybe work it in whole steps. If I wanted more of a challenge, I'd maybe move in minor thirds, slightly bigger leap. But no matter how you approach it, these are the kinds of things I like to milk these exercises for. And this is the sort of prep work I would do before getting into the bigger picture of the larger phrase. We've already got our 2 and our 5. Now our phrase on the 1, very diatonic, all based around the C major scale. Come down a triad, G, E, C, and then walk up the major scale, D, E, F, G. And then we play this over our dominant chord here. We play B flat to C sharp to A, and out the whole phrase together. Now, why am I thinking about groove in the back of my head? Why do I have a groovy, funky 2-5-1 backing track? It's because I want to be able to go back and forth. I want to be able to sit in the pocket, but at any time have the ability to dive into more melodic, more linear ideas. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we can sit right here in the pocket. Now, as an exercise, I want to be able to switch between grooving around this 2-5-1-6 and playing the line. Now let's try up the octave. There are so many ways you could approach this. Up the octave, down the octave, groove, you don't have to play the whole phrase each time. Just so many ways to weave in and out of the idea whilst always maintaining that groove, that time, that sound, those fundamental elements of the bass that I don't think, even if we're playing a completely linear solo in the upper register of the instrument, I don't think we should ever get away from the fundamentals. I have that available to me, and I often throw that in when I'm soloing to bring some low end, some foundation back to the overall musical picture, the story I'm trying to tell as I'm on stage. And this exercise will really help with both elements, your solo playing, your linear playing, and your bass playing. Our second phrase for today, which I highly recommend you take a similar approach to, the grooving, the line, playing little bits of the line, stepping in and out, different registers of the instrument. It's just a development of our first idea. Instead of, as our first phrase, we have very similar notes, very similar vocabulary. We're leaning on Dorian and the D. We're leaning on altered on the G. We get back to our very similar intervals of minor sixths when we're playing on the dominant chord, going back to the 2. And the whole phrase, let's break it down. Just get that in your head. Maybe you have the ability to sustain a note with a freeze pedal before moving on to the next chord. Exactly the same shape, our same 5-note minor shape as before, just descending this time with a slightly different rhythm. But material, if you've worked on the first phrase a little bit, material you should already be familiar with, material that will fit very nicely under your fingers at this point. And then just, again, a slight variation on our 1 chord, 5, 6, 7, to 2, and we get back to our friend, our B flat, C sharp, A. So the whole phrase. Let's put it in context with the play along. Before I leave you, I need to practice what I preach, and what I always preach is 12 keys. It's really important to move this around the instrument. Of course, I've included these funky play-alongs in all 12 keys with the book. And let's take it up a minor third. Let's just go straight to E flat major. Again, combining the groove with the line. Again, again all the various ways of getting hold of this book, whether that's signed personal copies from me or physical copies from Amazon or the digital version. They all come with standard notation, bass tab, the play-alongs, videos. I really appreciate you guys taking some precious time out of your day to spend it with me, talking about music, learning about the bass, and I'll see you guys on the next one.